So this is the review of the Seafrogs housing for the Sony A7RIV. First off, I want to say I'm not sponsored by Seafrogs, I'm not a brand ambassador for Seafrogs. They've not paid me to say any of this. This is my own personal and honest review of this housing. I've had this housing for almost 5 years now. It is for one camera and one camera only, the Sony A7RIV, which is the camera I'm shooting on right now. So this housing fits that camera. So I'm going to cover 3 things about this housing, and they're going to be ease of use, durability, and price. Everyone I'm going to give a mark out of 10. 10 being absolutely great, no problems whatsoever, 0 being don't bother. Ease of use, as I've said, everything I need to control and possibly could want to control, I can. Does that make it easy? Sometimes no. Sometimes less is more. Having less buttons and less options gives you a lot more time to just set the camera right, put it in, and crack on. Where that can be at a disadvantage, you're in the sea or you're on the beach, as I am right now. When I started filming this, I was in the sun. Now I'm not in the sun. If you haven't got the ability to change the controls on here, you lose the ability to take advantage of the situation as it happens. The other things, which is a little bit of a faff at times, is when you put that zoom gear on your lens, there's 2 things you have to ensure: that you put the zoom gear on the lens before you put the lens on the camera. And when you sit the camera inside the housing, the zoom gear needs to link up with the cogs on the inside. If it does not link up with the cogs on the inside and you go in the sea and start trying to zoom and trying to find what's going on, no zoom. And that's happened to me, and it's been a pain in the ass, and I've been stuck on a random focal length that just doesn't suit. So for ease of use, I am going to give it a 7.5. Think it could be easier? Yes. What would I say they could do easier? It could be easier to use in the sense of you may not need everything. Every button on here is not essential. I don't use all of them. But is it nice to have them? Yes. Is it more of a accident waiting to happen? Don't know. Can't really say. Durability. These things are made to withstand a bit of a whack and a crack and a hit. Obviously, you don't want to just go chucking these things. But if you did drop this on the floor outside, you're going to be okay, I think. I've dropped it from like knee height onto concrete, and it's been okay. I'm not saying go outside, drop it from knee height onto concrete. But they're pretty tough. They're pretty, like the plastic on these is very, very well built, strong, thick, and durable. Again, they've got to be able to withstand 40 meters of pressure underwater, which is a lot of pressure pounding on the camera. So they've got to be able to withstand that. So that would be one thing I would change. If I had any advice to give back to Seafrogs, I would say make the hinge more durable, or create them all with a back plate that comes off completely. So durability, 9. The only way it would be a 10 would be is if when you did drop it, it didn't scratch or nick or mark, but that's not going to happen. And price, when I bought this, I bought it for $560 US plus shipping, which was $60. So I think you're talking maybe, I'm probably going to butcher this now, I'll put the actual number on screen, maybe about £500 all in. That's excluding this on top, by the way, and this. What you get with that is the body of the housing and a standard port. You can order them with different ports. I ordered the standard port to keep the price low at the start. I've bought more ports further on. And I think that's a very fair price. You can spend £100 on basically a bag, which you screw on to the end of your camera, and that bag goes over the camera, and like it's sort of like a Ziploc bag for your fruit and vegetables in the fridge or whatever. I'm doing that all the time. But then you can go and spend £5,000 on a housing, which you can pretty much customize to your camera, exactly how you want it, the colors, the paint on the outside. I think it's probably even more than that. So is this top end? No. Is this entry level? No. This is that happy medium in the middle, which I think is a great price, very, very fair. Ultimately, if you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of camera, a £500 housing will do the job, will suffice. You just got to look after it. So price, I'm going to score this one an 8.5. Could it be better? Yes, if they had a UK shipping option where you didn't have to pay import tax as well. But the price for the actual housing itself is great. I cannot complain whatsoever. So my overall verdict on the Seafrogs housing, if you're someone who's looking to get into this line of fun photography, this great job, is it a good place to start? Yes. Is it a little bit daunting to begin with because there is a lot of buttons and gubbins on you? Yes. But once you're familiar with your camera, it's essentially your camera but bigger. So as a place to start, it is excellent. You can really get some epic shots. I've had pretty much all of my best shots I've ever taken have been with this housing. So yeah. These housings come in different colors. I went for the white version. I thought if it's in the sea, I'm probably going to see it a lot better, but they do a black version as well, which I thought if it's in the sea, I'm probably not going to see it as well as a bright white one. If you've got a different type of camera, I know that the Sony A7RIV or the salted line of housings that Seafrogs do, you can get a nice funky orange color that does look pretty cool as well. But I went with white. You see it, it's high vis, and it's gonna be hard to lose this in the sea. So here's two things I love about the Seafrogs housing for my Sony A7R4, and is its weight. It's quite light. With the camera in there, I'll put up a number of how heavy it is with the camera in and without the camera in as well. But it's great, it feels great. They've done a very good job with the ergonomic design. As you can see here, the notches for where your fingers sit are great. Finger on the trigger, and they've even like carved out a little hole for your thumb to sit there. So the actual overall design of this is great. The other thing I like, and as I've said in this video, is I like to have control over pretty much everything. When the light changes or the swell changes or something happens in the sea, I know full well that I'm comfortable going, okay, there's a big cloud that's just come over, the light has gone quite dark, the white balance is off, a few little tweaks, I'm done, I'm there. And here's two things that I do not like about the housing. There's a company called Aquasphere, I believe, and the way that they do their housings is they don't tend to have a hinge. This whole bit here would be loose, and you would place it on the back with 4 clamps in the corners that hold this down evenly. This has only got the 1 clamp on the side and a hinge over here, which they use, looks like ungalvanized, maybe aluminium or steel pin. So that gets rusty over time and can seize and break the plastic. I've already gone through 1 hinge. So that would be one thing I would change. One more thing I don't like is on the inside, not sure if you'll be able to see this, there's these little rubber feet which sit on the end of these to adjust the settings in the camera. These rubber feet have a tendency when you're putting the camera in to fly off into the housing. Same with this guy here, this guy comes straight out. Now, I don't know why that needs to come out or be loose. I can't see why that can't just be fixed in there. I might even super glue it in myself. But those things, those little things when you're trying to set up the camera to get in the sea, the light's fading or blah, 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 and you're just putting the camera in and those things come flying off, makes you want to rip your hair out. If I had hair to rip out, I'd rip it out. If I ever get a different camera, I'll probably be going straight back to Seafrogs. The price is great, the durability is great, ease of use is great. It's just a bloody good piece of kit.